When people ask how to present a training session, what they usually mean is, how can I deliver a training session in a way that keeps people interested and engaged? And for me, that's about moving away from presentations and actually designing your workshop so that people can actively contribute to what's going on. In this video, I share 3 simple principles that will help you rethink your training so you go from passive presentations to active learning and people want to come back for more. Hi, I'm Kerry Price. I'm the founder of the Facilitators Network, and I use the principles of deliberate generosity to make sure that no meeting or workshop is ever wasted. I've been facilitating for 20 odd years, and in that time I've led thousands of meetings, workshops, and community conversations. Now, I help other trainers and facilitators do that well. Once upon a time, a training session was all about chalk and talk. Remember the days of the blackboard and your lecturer or workshop facilitator or trainer would write stuff on the blackboard and you would just soak it all in. Then we moved to the 1970s, 1980s, and we had overhead transparencies. Oh my word, remember those? And then roll into the 90s and PowerPoint came along, and PowerPoint or slides seemed like the holy grail of training. How cool was it to see something on a screen? But now, watching something on a screen ain't that interesting. If you want to move your presentations to a space where people are actively learning, it might be time to ditch the slides and think about how people can contribute more and listen less. So the first principle you'll need to think about if you want to host a really engaging workshop or training session is that the wisdom is always in the room. I know that it feels nice to be seen as the expert or the sage on the stage, but actually the collective wisdom in the room is probably far more than the wisdom you have on your own. So instead of just launching into a presentation where this is all the things I know and look how clever I am, start by finding out what wisdom already exists. What do people already know? And really honor the experience that exists in the room. One way to recognize that experience is to invite people to stand up and stand on a continuum based on how long they've been working in this particular industry or sector. Right from I've just started out to I've been in this industry or sector my entire life. Get people to popcorn out the years or the time they've had, and then do some magical equation to add that together. You'll find that in any given room, you've got hundreds of years of experience, and combine that, it's far more than you'll ever know on your own. For lots of trainers, this principle is hard to get their head around. After all, you're being invited to do some training because apparently you know your stuff. But sharing that with people in the room and acknowledging the experience and expertise that already exist doesn't take away from what you know also. It's about the collective wisdom and how that sticks that matters. The second principle that you need to think about when you're planning an engaging training session is what I call the 7-minute switch, because people have really short attention spans. I mean, let's face it, most of us can't even watch Netflix without scrolling our phone at the same time, and that's stuff we signed up for. So in a training or a workshop, I like to design my sessions so that at the very least, or the very most, 7 minutes, I'm asking people to do something different. So if they've been listening to me talk, then I might invite them to talk with each other. If they've been sitting, I might invite them to stand. If we've been doing something fast-paced and generative, I might invite them to do some solo reflection. It doesn't really matter what I'm inviting them to do, as long as every 7 minutes or less, I'm getting them to do something different. Because if I don't invite them to do something different, they'll find something different to do for themselves, and that's probably picking up their phone or checking out in some other way. The third principle you need to be aware of is that the person talking is actually the person learning. And there's all sorts of studies that back this up depending on who you subscribe to. But there's this theory that When people talk things out loud, it helps them understand and cement different ideas and put them into their own context. So if you are doing a presentation and all people are doing is listening, they haven't had a chance to actually make that learning real. So in order to give people a chance to actually do the talking, I have a general guideline for my workshops, which is 30-30-30. Basically, 30% of the time, I'm the one doing the talking, maybe setting the scene, creating some context, delivering some key points. 30% of the time is participants doing something for themselves, of which I'm not necessarily facilitating. It might be small group discussions, individual reflection, some sort of experiential activity. And 30% of the time is me debriefing that, inviting people to share their noticings or their insights or their questions back into the room. And that doesn't mean I spend 30% of the time up front in a workshop talking and then we stop for 30% of the time to do some work and then 30% of the time to do debrief. It's about 30-30-30, then coming back around 30-30-30, constantly switching out between talking, listening, doing, reflecting as we move through the day. The easiest way to enact this principle of 30-30-30 is to explore and play with the idea of experiential activities. Now, if you're not sure what they are or how to roll them out, you'll want to check out my next video, How to Make a Training Session Interactive. In that video, I share what experiential learning is in real time, and we actually walk through an activity so you can experience it for yourself. The link is in the description. Go check it out.